So I'm here with Dr. Gill. We're going to talk about flea prevention because there's a lot of wives' tales of stuff that works. There's a lot of practical things that work really well. Then there's things that are expensive and don't actually do much. So we're going to find out what actually works because I'd like to know personally, and I know you guys want to know too. So, Dr. Gill, how are you?
I'm good. I'm glad you're here today.
All right.
So we are definitely in the height of flea season. It's unfortunately starting a lot earlier this year because we had such a warm winter. So there are a lot of things you can do. You know, obviously there are a lot of preventatives out there that you can actually treat your dog or your cat. Here at Colony Animal Clinic, we tend to do a lot of the orals for dogs because we found that in our area, the oral products tend to work a little bit better than the topicals. At least for dogs. Now for our kitty cats, it's not always easy to give them a pill, so we do still keep a couple topicals. For the cats, we tend to use Revolution or Cherastin. They both work very well. They're a monthly product. Anytime you're applying a monthly or a topical product to a dog or a cat, if you're going to bathe them prior, you want to make sure that they're completely dry, usually about 24 hours. And then before bathing them after you put it on, you want to wait at least 48 to 72 hours. Okay. With the dog products, you know, more of those orals that we like to use. We like Neck Scar, which also does ticks. You know, not all of our clients have tick issues, but they're definitely there and can carry a lot of disease. So we have the Neck Scar, that's a monthly product. Brevecto is a new flea and tick product that actually lasts 3 months.
Oh,
so
wow.
It's pretty nice.
Might need to check that one out myself. I like that plan.
It's a nice little chewable. Dogs tend to like it. And then we also have Trifexis, which is the heartworm and flea kind of combined. As well as a product called Sentinel that's more of kind of a flea birth control. So it's a kind of cost-effective way of trying to control fleas.
Okay, very cool. So with your own dogs, do you ever skip months? Because with me, if it's winter time, I might skip a couple months if it's actually frozen, which in Alabama, it may still be in the 80s and you need it because the fleas haven't died off. But if we've had a hard freeze and it hasn't warmed up, do you ever skip months?
So it's definitely up to you and how bad your flea problem usually is. If you're someone who usually has a lot of flea problems in the summer, I wouldn't skip the months because you're correct. It often doesn't get quite cold enough in our area. And so you may want to do it year round. But a lot of our clients do skip months. I tend to actually do the product called Sentinel kind of year round, and then in the warmer months, then I'll give them something like the Neck Scar on top of that.
Okay. And that being said, I know things like HeartGuard, it's more important to not skip that because you don't want to get heartworm.
Yes, never skip your heartworm prevention.
That's one thing we don't skip.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Another big thing is to treat the environment. You know, you can do a lot with treating the environment to prevent the fleas actually being able to get on your pet. So big things there, you know, there's tons of sprays out there that you can buy at most of the feed stores and home improvement stores that you can do yourself. Most Terminex and pesticide places, they have something for fleas, but I would always ask specifically for something that's going to kill the eggs and larvae because 95% of your flea population are the fleas waiting to hatch.
Oh, yeah.
So for every one flea you see, there's a ton more waiting to be there.
Oh, yeah.
And so making sure you get a product that's going to take care of the eggs and the larvae. In your house, vacuuming is huge because, like I said, 95% of the population are the eggs and the larvae, and they fall off your pet and down into carpet, rugs, cracks of hardwood floors. So you make sure that you wash their bedding really well, and then vacuuming any area you can vacuum, and empty your container outside, because if you put it back in the closet, they're just going to hatch out and come back out. But if you vacuum every day or every other day, you can do huge improvement in your flea population.
Okay, so when you vacuum in the house, do you put any kind of treatment on the floor and vacuum it up, or is just vacuuming generally enough?
Vacuuming in generally will definitely help. Now there are a lot of home treatment products as well. There are some powders and sprays. Anytime you're using one of those products, I would make sure that you're getting the animals out of the house because you don't want to be putting those things down when the animals are around it.
Yeah.
And at least keep them out for a few hours.
Okay, yeah. And I always read the safety instructions. There's always a long list of do's and don'ts.
Absolutely.
Very cool. So are there any wives' tales that you hear and you hate because they're not accurate? I know I hear plenty of crazy stuff with pet sitting and what people think is going to be a great plan.
Right.
And
Right.
it never quite works out the way they
Yes.
anticipated.
Well, there's the saying, everything you read on the internet is not always true.
It's true.
I would say the big one that we hear over and over again is actually giving your dogs garlic. And
Okay.
garlic is actually toxic to dogs and cats, can cause them to become anemic.
Okay.
And so while that has been around for a long time as a suggestion to treat fleas, it's not safe for your pet. And so please don't do it.
Okay, yeah, I've heard the garlic thing too, so it's good to know it's
Yeah,
not true. I've
don't-
never used it.
Don't do it.
But man, yeah, I did not know that was toxic.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that's cool.
I know, there's
All right.
a lot out there, and we've got lots of products here that we can help you with, but treating the environment is huge, and make sure you're treating your pet. The other thing I would like to say too is that anytime you are treating a cat, make sure 100% that the product you're using is safe for cats.
Okay.
Because a lot of the medicines we have out there, specifically the topicals that are made for dogs, are highly toxic to cats.
Okay.
So make sure you're using the correct product.
All right, well that's neat. And how do you feel about stuff you can get at Walmart versus stuff you get at your vet? I know some of that, I see recalls and warnings on Facebook
Right.
about how this dog lost all his hair and got chemical burns, and that's stuff we definitely want to avoid.
Yeah. I do prefer the products that are purchased at the veterinarian. The active ingredient that was in Frontline that has been used by vets for a long time is actually generic, so you can purchase that at the stores. In my opinion, it's not working as well in our area as it used to, and so while you can get some products out there at the pet store and Walmart and that sort of place, and they may work for you, but be very careful because there are a lot of toxicity reports out there. Again, probably more so with the cats than the dogs, but be very, very careful about what you're using.
Okay.
And if you ever have questions, you're free to bring it in and let us take a peek at it.
Okay, awesome.
Okay.
Well, are there any questions I haven't asked that you want to address?
Nothing I can think of.
All right,
It's
cool.
gonna be a rough flea season, y'all.
All right, yeah, stay on top of the treatments, and like she said, you want to prevent the problem before it happens. So
Absolutely.
we know you can treat your yard, you can treat your house. Ideally, you're going to catch it before it's really an issue. I know at my house, the way our situation is, we'll normally treat our yard beginning of the summer and then halfway through, and we're good to go and never have a
It's
problem.
a great plan.
So
Great plan.
hopefully we can all stay flea free this summer.
Yeah.
All right, well thank you so much, I really appreciate it.
Not a problem. Glad you came by.
Bye guys.